Hello, everyone. Maryssa Mitsch here with one of our partners in the community. We have Lynette Jones with us today from the Epiphany Center. So welcome, Lynette. We are so appreciative of you taking the time to be here with us today.
Thank you.
All right, so people, please do not get confused. There was a different name on the screen, but this is indeed Lynette from the Epiphany Center with us today. So Lynette, why don't you kind of start talking a little bit about some of the work that you do at the Epiphany Center?
Sure. Just a little background. The Epiphany Center is over 160 years old. It's been in San Francisco for many, many years, and it's had many different incarnations. Currently, we are a residential treatment program for women with children, with young children under the age of 3. And so what is happening here is on the first floor is our infant toddler center. On the second floor are classrooms for the clients to begin their recovery treatment program. And on the third floor is a residence for the parents to live here at the Epiphany Center while they're in their recovery program and be able to bring their children to childcare before their classes start.
Great, that's a really nice background. So how long have you been working at the Epiphany Center?
I've been here 6 years. I've been here 6 years. And I started, took over from the person who actually started the infant program many, many years ago. It was 1981. The city of San Francisco, Department of Public Health, contacted the Epiphany Center and said, please help us. We have so many abandoned babies. It was when crack kind of hit the street. That need special care, and we just don't have the facilities and the workers and knowledge with experience working with these babies. And so Epiphany became a drop-off point for children who are abandoned, babies who are abandoned, until we could find foster placements for them. And then in 2001, we actually became a residential treatment center for the women who were abandoning these babies, because what our goal is, and it's been our mission since the beginning, way back in the 1800s, is to keep families united. That's been our mission. We have a very strong mission and we really stick to it. And so our goal here is to create an environment to enhance family life so that women who are in treatment or who have experienced tremendous trauma understand the importance of being a parent and learn to love their babies. And I think that we've really stuck close to that. And the Child Care Center is filled with teachers who are highly trained in our techniques, working with children who have been exposed to drugs. And so they're able to really meet the needs of the child inside the classroom. And then we have parent education that takes place, sometimes upstairs on the second floor when they're in classes. Sometimes they have individual therapists who really give parent education and provide resources for parents to learn about their job, And that's the first thing we do, is create a safe environment, a place where parents can be validated for doing the job that they're doing every day. I think a lot of times women who come in off the streets or who are referred by CPS or the county jail or the courts don't feel respected and don't feel acknowledged for being the parents that they are. And I think that just is a really vicious cycle. So I think creating a space for them to feel safe and respected, and congratulated on having a beautiful child really helps them focus on their own recovery as well as being a parent. And I admire the women who do that so very, very much. How difficult that is, we will never know. But yeah, so Epiphany really provides all of that we have a mental health clinic here. We have a pediatric clinic here that's open 3 days a week. So parents can get pediatric care. Most of our families are from general hospital, Healthy California, Healthy Kids, and they can get care here 3 days a week. Their immunizations up to date, well baby checks, all that can take place here at the site. We have the mental health clinic each client, we call them, is assigned a mental health consultant to be with them. And then, of course, their classes also are facilitated by counselors and social workers and people who are experienced with drug and alcohol addiction.
Wow, it seems like there are so many like important foundational elements that you are all supporting these, mothers and these families with, right? From kind of this like wraparound service, lots of collaboration and teaming happening, and thinking about, serving the parent and serving like the child or children that they have. That's just phenomenal that you're able to give back to these families and to the greater community.
Yes, we were actually listed in Newsweek magazine as being one of the top 100 centers in the United States that offer services. We have really a very fine record of success for keeping families together. It's a beautiful thing when it happens. It really is.
It sounds like it. Well, congratulations on that accomplishment. So you mentioned the residential unit. So does that, can you talk to us a little bit out of curiosity? Are some mothers and babies there residentially, and then do some transition out, but they come back for services? I'm kind of thinking a little bit about how this plays into the early intervention and working with the infants and toddlers.
Yes. As I mentioned before, we get clients from various places in San Francisco, some even outside of the city, but mostly from the city. If a parent is referred to us by the court system, CPS, they are invited to the program. There is a very precise interview. People have to really want to be here, because the Epiphany Center has rules and regulations. I mean, you just don't come here and hang out. There's a lot of work to be done, a lot of community building. Women live in a dorm-like situation, so they have meals together, they do chores, all of that kind of thing. And we have, specific rules for the clients. And some people are not happy here. They're not completely satisfied. But what we do is we have a phenomenal resource and referral person who finds a program that's better fitted. There's no shame, there's no guilt involved. Oh, this isn't for you. Let's try to find another program for you. So again, the parents are supported. So I think that just the whole group setting is really unique for many of the women who are here. So they have a lot of learning to do. Parents get, first of all, they're interviewed to see if this is a good fit for them. They see the nurse to make sure that they're feeling healthy. They're connected with other resources like Homeless Prenatal, WIC, all of those kinds of things. There are people involved here that know exactly where to help parents find resources. And we take them to the resources. We bring them there. We have a giant van and we do a lot of appointments. Some of our parents are still receiving drug treatment. They might be on methadone. And so they get taken to the, every day, if they need to go every day, they get taken to the clinics, have their treatment, come back. And we make them feel really welcome here. It's harm reduction, I guess it's called. The people who do enjoy being here and want to be here, I think, feel safe. That's really, really important. We make the parents feel safe, we make the women feel safe, and we make the babies feel safe. I think safety is the number one, because many of these women were not safe at all. They weren't safe at all. So this really is a place for them to feel safe. And I think once that starts and the women start to relax and accept where they are, accept where they're going, then we see some positive changes taking place. They want to be with their babies. They want to feel connected to what's going on and ask about and learn about how to take care of their children. And their children are the best motivating factors for them to remain in residential treatment, really. Like I said, sometimes that doesn't always work. And every now and then we do have a situation where CPS may have to step in, but mostly we want to be there before it gets to that point.
So thinking in as much of a preventative or proactive approach, right? And being able to support these mothers in their treatment.
Exactly. Yes. Mhm.
Yeah, it sounds a lot of individualizing, collaborations happening, sort of at the Epiphany Center.
Mhm. It is.
So
That's exactly what it is. But the next thing that happens is consistency. So they're not being tossed around to different counselors, and they're not being introduced to many, many programs at the same time. It's a slow and steady, consistent way of life, a new way of life for many of them.
great. Well, thanks for talking a lot about the services and the supports that you're providing to these mothers and to these kids, and sort of what that looks like.
Mhm.
So for like the early intervention side of it, what are like a few key like skill sets or knowledge or mindset, even like beliefs that you feel like anyone who works with families at the Epiphany Center really need to sort of honor and respect?
And that is a great question, because it's not for everybody. Everybody may not be able to do this. I think you have to have an intrinsic belief that these women will be successful. You can do it. You can do this. A lot of that conversation takes place so that parents really see that, yeah, you are going to be the best parent you can be. This is terrific. And a lot of positive. And also an acceptance of, yes, our clients, our women, have had maybe years of addiction. So they may not be able to remember what you told them this morning when they pick up at in the afternoon. So I think there has to be a lot of patience, a lot of empathy, and a true belief that this will work. We will help you get through this program, and it will work for you. And I think that anybody who comes through the door has to have that inside of them, has to have that intrinsically inside of them. In addition to a lot of knowledge about drug recovery and how to work with babies who have been exposed. So I think that there's a lot of training that goes on before and after. You know, I've had teachers here who have come in and they have no idea what drug recovery is, and it's challenging for them because, like I said, you may tell a parent something in the morning, and by the afternoon, it's actually gone from their memory because they were meth addicts, and meth actually is the drug that destroys brain cells, and you can't grow them back, the ones that they destroy. So yeah, so I think you have to have a belief that these people can do it, that we really respect them. I mean, I can't say that enough, how challenging it is to be in recovery and be a parent. You're doing a
Mhm.
great job. I don't think I could do it, and you're doing a great job. That kind of attitude. And then be willing to learn about addiction, what that does, and learn about how to work with babies who have been addicted, because many of them have the behaviors that are very challenging for parents, number one, but challenging for caregivers as well.
Mhm. That sounds like a lot of training and knowledge. So are there any like strategies that come to mind of, what you're sharing with the teachers, what you're sharing with your team of experts who are working with these babies,
Yes,
or the
absolutely.
parents or the mothers? Yeah.
Yeah, and we share it with them, with the parents too, so that they have a true understanding of what's going on with their child, why their child is crying, and how to soothe them, because sometimes the children don't know why they're crying. You know, they're just it's a past memory or a past trauma that tips them off. We follow the PITC, which is the Program for Infants and Toddlers,
Mhm.
and it's all about relationships. And tried and true, many programs promote this relationship-based care. It may not use the PITC philosophy, but it's based on relationships. And that's how the clients relate to their counselors upstairs. It's based on their relationships. And so this takes place in the classroom. It has to be built on the relationships. And teachers and professionals who work here must maintain a professional relationship with every parent. And I think that that in itself is great. You know, just having a relationship, not being afraid of clients. Yes, not being afraid of the clients, because some of the clients are kind of rough, and ultimate respect. They are their parent, they are their child's first and primary teacher. And we tell them that we just support you. You're the one that's really teaching your child, so that they understand the importance, the role that they have, but know that they're not alone, that there's people here with you. The other thing that we provide is it is wraparound because um, we realize that 6 months of recovery with a 6-month-old baby and then being tossed back out into the street is not very supportive. And that is the way our social system was set up for a long time. Epiphany opened a transitional house. So now women who go through the recovery program here can move into this transitional community housing and have, there's still some rules and regs there, but they have much more freedom. They're out in public. They're not in here in the residence now. It's a beautiful Victorian. We made it spacious and lovely and wonderfully modern, so that the women see, oh well, this is how I can live. I don't have to live on Kirk Street. I can live here, and we really pride ourselves on being able to offer that service to people. Sometimes women go back home, go back to wherever they came from initially, but most of the women are able to transition into, we call it step down, with their child, and that gives them an extra year of support.
That's great to be able to provide that transition as they're kind of adjusting and being independent and like being sort of on their own to be able to, find what they need to do in order to make sure that, because, they can't stay at Epiphany forever.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. I love the idea of the step down approach. I'm just kind of writing down some notes as we're talking.
Sure.
Yeah. So, when I think about the idea of like equity and inclusion and diversity, I know you like work with a very diverse set of mothers and babies, but what does this look like at Epiphany? Kind of like thinking about how are these families impacted and how do we like reflect, learn, and grow from this? Like, how can we all sort of learn from what you are all experiencing and what these moms and babies are experiencing in Epiphany?
Right. I can go back to the whole concept of building a relationship with each person, because nobody has the same background. And so I think initially building the relationship with the parent and accepting them for what has happened and saying, yes, okay, that was then, this is now. And recognizing them, acknowledging their growth and their intelligence. I think sometimes that's the throwaway is, oh, this person was a drug addict, so we won't really invest in them. We say, absolutely, we're going to invest in, and drug addiction and alcoholism crosses all economic lines, from the very, very poor to the very, very rich may still have an issue with addiction. So we recognize that, but when you're at Epiphany, this is the foundation. We're all going to start with the foundation and then we're going to work up from there. So building that relationship, introducing foundations, and then building on scaffolding their skill and their knowledge. We've had people with, master's degrees who actually went back to college and, had a different career. Artists, singers, just a variety of people. And I think once they start to believe in themselves and start to make progress in their own recovery, they start to believe that they are good parents and they can make a better life for themselves. So that's really important, is to create those relationships and support the relationships and not judge. There's no judging here. We're not judging anybody. And it's really important that we let them know right away that we're not judging their parenting skills. We're not judging their choices. We're just encouraging and supporting them where they are right now. And if we can offer them some parenting education that can stick to them, they're happy. They're happy, and they're satisfied. And I love it when parents recall. Today I was doing a parent-teacher conference and we were talking about talking to babies. And sometimes people are very self-conscious with their own child too about talking to them, just talking to them. And so one of the parents said, oh yeah, Oh yeah, we talked about that in Circle of Security, which is one of the parent education programs.
Mhm.
She remembered this, and she has been out of the program for about a year. She still comes back for mental health services and her child attends childcare, but she recalled, oh yeah, you do. You're supposed to talk to your kids. Because she asked, when do kids start talking? And
Mhm.
the answer is when you start talking to them.
Yeah.
Even though your baby's 6 months old, they're going to tell you a story.
Mhm.
So that's really great. So that's a really great thing to see.
Yeah, I'm always telling people just talk, talk, talk. Like talk when you're, doing the dishes, talk when you're folding laundry, just like everyday activities. And so,
Yeah. So I think all of those things are really important. You know, I think again, though, the core is the relationship, safety. They need
mhm.
to be safe. They need to work in their relationship with themselves and the relationship with their child. And that all takes place.
Wonderful. So relationship safety. I love that. That's really, really
Mhm.
important. So we're nearing the end. And so I'm wondering if there's anything else that comes to mind for you that you wanted to share today, about your work or about advice to professionals in the field, talking more about Epiphany Center. Is there anything else you want to leave students with?
Well, I think that in some ways it is a calling. It is
Hmm.
a calling that you want to work with a vulnerable population. Uh, some of the teachers and counselors who have come to us who haven't had no experience with vulnerable populations struggle a little bit. And there's
Hmm.
quite a long adjustment time. But if you've made inquiries and you're focusing your education on vulnerable families and what could cause vulnerability, I mean, there's so many circumstances that these particular women go through, DV and many things, poverty. Um, we talk about diversity. It's a known fact that if you're African American, you're not going to get first in line always, even in a city like San Francisco. You have to be aware of that as a student and as a professional in this field, that there are going to be inequities, and you have to acknowledge them. You can't run away from it. You have to acknowledge it. You have to acknowledge that there's a real diverse way people were raised. Even though we have the we may think we have the best methods here, that may not match at all with somebody's background. And so we have to find a way to make that work for them. So I think being creative, you need to be very creative, inclusive. You need to welcome everybody without judging. Very important.
Yeah, those are all a lot of really useful skills and kind of interpersonal skills, right? When you're working with people, with
Yes,
individualizing and sort of meeting the mother or the families that you're working with where they are,
exactly,
and rather than just sort of generalizing,
exactly. Right.
is really important. Well, Lynette, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and your knowledge and expertise, working with families, working with mothers, working with babies and toddlers. We just really appreciate you taking your time out of your busy schedule to be here with us and share your wisdom.
Great. Well, thank you for the invitation. I enjoyed being here. And if you ever need any more uh, discussion about Epiphany, please let me know, because I love talking about the program.
Okay, wonderful. I will make sure to provide the contact information for our program.
Okay. Thank you
Great.
so much. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.